Hello and welcome back to That Was Golf. I'm your host, Calum MacVicar. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the weekly review. I've returned home from holiday, so I'm back to my usual recording setup. No more softly spoken episodes in hotel rooms. Lots to catch up on from the previous week as some tours draw close to their conclusions for the 2026 season. So let's take a look. We start this week on the DP World Tour, where it was the Danish Golf Championship held at Great Northern in Kerteminde, Funen, Denmark. Winning here was Jeff Winther. Former greenskeeper Jeff Winther is now a two-time winner on the DP World Tour, thanks to a fantastic final day round that saw him get the victory after trailing from a 4-shot deficit to the leaders heading on to the first tee. A flawless back nine that featured 2 birdies and a 30-foot putt for eagle took Winther's final round tally to 15 under par and 3 shots ahead of 5 players in tied second place. The win sees Winther move up 66 places in the Race to Dubai rankings to 31st place. Next to the LPGA Tour, where it was the standard Portland Classic held at Columbia Edgewater Country Club in Portland, Oregon, USA. Winning here was Gino Titicun. A 10th victory on the LPGA Tour for Gino Titicun last week, with an excellent final round 64 8 under par, helping her get the job done. Titicun finished on 22 under par and 1 shot clear of fellow Thai golfers Arpachaya Yubal and Chanati Wanasian. Wanasian had come very close in the final round to drawing level with Titicun, but her own final round 63 9 under par left her just 1 shot behind on 21 under par. The Race to CME Globe Order of Merit now sees Gino Titicun climb to 5th place, with Nelly Korda still firmly at the top of the leaderboard. Out on the Sunshine Tour, it was the FNB Eswatini Challenge, held at Ezulwini Golf and Country Club in Ezulwini Valley, Eswatini. Winning here was Austin Batista. A second career win on the Sunshine Tour and his first of the 2026 season, Australian Austin Batista took out the FNB Eswatini Challenge, carding a final score of 17 under par and 3 shots ahead of a trio of players in tied second place. In the 3-round tournament, 2 rounds of 67 bookended a flawless round 2 65-7 under to achieve his final score. The win sees Batista move into second on the season standings after just 4 events completed. On the Professional Golf Tour of India, it was the Coal India Open, held at Toligunga Club in Kolkata, India. Winning here was Shubham Jaglan. Shubham Jaglan gained a first victory on the Professional Golf Tour of India with a 14 under par score and 2-stroke lead over the field. 22-year-old Jaglan, who is playing in his first full season on the tour, rises up the season's leaderboard as a result of this win to 14th place. On the PGA Tour of Taiwan, it was the Wealthy Family Open, held at the National Golf Country Club in Tawanli, Miaoli County, Taiwan. Winning here was Wang Wei Huan. Back-to-back victories for Wang Wei Huan on the PGA Tour of Taiwan as he records his second consecutive total under par score in the 20s. Last week's 21 under was followed this week by a 20 under par total, 3 shots ahead of Hung Chien Yao in second place, with Wei Huan successfully converting a 36-hole lead, and as a result of this win, moves up to second place in the season's Order of Merit standings. On the JLPGA, it was the NEC Karazawa 72 Golf Tournament, held at the Karazawa 72 Golf Club in Karazawa, Nagano Prefecture, Japan. Winning here was Yuka Yasuda, a monster opening round of 61 11 under par, which tied the course record, set Yuka Yasuda on her way to a 23 under par final score, 7 shots ahead of the field. A third win on the tour for Yasuda and first in 2026. She also broke the record for most birdies across the 54-hole tournament and the record for the lowest opening 36-hole score at 19 under par, both records that were previously held by Annika Sorenstam. The impressive win sees Yasuda climb to 17th on the Mercedes points list and 15th on the season's money list. On the PGA Tour, it was the FedEx St. Jude Championship held at TPC Southwind in Memphis, Tennessee, USA. Winning here was Scottie Scheffler. The FedEx playoffs kicked off last week with Scottie Scheffler taking out the St. Jude Championship on 17 under par, 8 shots clear of the field. After a win back in January at the American Express, a second win of the year has been a long time coming by Scheffler's usual standards, and this one was his 21st on the PGA Tour. The disparity between Scheffler at world number 1 and Rory McIlroy, the world's second best player, was quite abundant, with McIlroy finishing on 8 over par, 25 shots behind Scheffler in 66th place in the 69-man field. On the Ladies European Tour, it was the Swiss Ladies Open, held at Migros Golf Park in Holzhausen, Switzerland. Winning here was Eleanor Givens. After 15 seasons on the Ladies European Tour, English golfer Eleanor Givens can now call herself a winner, as she took out the Swiss Ladies Open tournament with a final score of 13 under par. An almost flawless tournament for Givens, as she only made one bogey across the 3 rounds. Her 13 under par score was achieved with rounds of 68 in the opening round, followed by 2 bogey-free rounds of 66. The win sees Givens make a jump up the season's order of merit to 23rd place. Out on the Clutch Pro Tour, it was the Mannings Heath Masters, held at Mannings Heath Golf Club, the Waterfall course, in Horsham, West Sussex, England. Winning here was Giles Evans. A second win on the Clutch Pro Tour and a jump up the order of merit leaderboard to first place with only 2 events left in the calendar made for an excellent week on the tour for Giles Evans. A scintillating final round of 64 8 under par, which was bogey-free, saw Evans take out first place and the Mannings Heath Masters Trophy with a 2-shot lead on 17 under par. On the KLPGA, it was the Mediheal Hankook Kilbu Championship, held at Covert Country Club in Poncheon-si, Gyeonggi-do, South Korea. Winning here was Seo Kyerim. A third win of the season and a third career win on the KLPGA for Seo Kyerim came thanks to a superb final round 64 8 under par, moving up 3 places on the leaderboard and finishing on 18 under par, 2 shots ahead of Kim Min-sol in second place. Kyerim, who continues her fantastic work on the golf course this season, sits top of the KLPGA points list and in second place on the money list, now within touching distance of Kim Min-sol, who is currently in first place. Over on the Korn Ferry Tour, it was the Albertsons Boise Open, held at Hillcrest Country Club in Boise, Idaho, USA. Winning here was Ross Steelman. A second win of the season and a second career win on the Korn Ferry Tour for Ross Steelman, who jumps to the top of the Korn Ferry Tour points list for the season and gains a tour card for the PGA Tour next year. He joins Doc Redman as the only 2 players guaranteed PGA Tour cards for next season prior to the conclusion of this year's schedule. Steelman's blistering form of late was on show as he carded rounds of 65, followed by 3 rounds of 64 at the par 71 course, to finish on 27 under par for the tournament and 3 shots ahead of 2 players in tied second place. Out on the Ladies European Tour Access Series, it was the Ladies Slovak Golf Open, held at Tale Ski Golf and Hotel Resort in Horná Lehota, Slovakia. Winning here was Michaela Vavrova, a first professional victory with a wire-to-wire performance on home soil, and beating the current Ladies European Tour Access Series Order of Merit leader in a playoff is a pretty good way to secure your first win on the tour. For Michaela Vavrova, a second playoff hole birdie was enough to give the Slovak golfer a win over Lauren Homey, after both players finished the tournament top of the table on 1 over par. Vavrova moves to 11th place on the season's Order of Merit, while Homey sits top of the table with a slight advantage over last week's winner Maja Svedenshield in second place. On the Nordic Golf League, it was the FootJoy Skane Challenge, held at Söderslats Golf Club in Vellinge, Sweden. Winning here was Karl Hardin. Karl Hardin wins for the first time on the Nordic Golf League, finishing on 14 under par and a narrow 1 shot ahead of Tom Roed Karlsson. Karlsson, who started with a fantastic 64 8 under par, failed to maintain this early form, following this up with rounds of 69 and 70 for a total of 13 under. Leaving the door open for Hardin, whose consistently lower rounds over the tournament meant that his 69, 67 and 66 scoring brought him to 14 under par and into the 1-shot lead. The win gives Hardin a jump to 21st place on the season's Road to Europe Order of Merit standings. Out on the Pro Golf Tour, it was the Stan Open, held at Golfbaan Vestwoud in Vestwoud, Netherlands. Winning here was Mauro Ghilardi. A playoff was needed in the Netherlands to separate Mauro Ghilardi and Dutch native Dario Antonisse after both players finished the tournament on 18 under par. Both players put on impressive displays in the regulation tournament, with 3 successive rounds each in the 60s. But it was Ghilardi who managed to go the extra distance and take home the win, making birdie on the first playoff hole. The win, which was Ghilardi's second on the tour, sees him climb to second place on the tour order of merit, behind Dario Antonisse by some stretch. Out on the PGA Champions Tour, it was the Bowen Classic, held at the club at Snoqualmie Ridge in Snoqualmie, Washington, USA. Winning here was Stuart Sink. Stuart Sink continues his incredible year on the PGA Champions Tour with a playoff victory over Miguel Angel Jimenez. A birdie on the first playoff hole ensured Sink a 5th win of the season and a 9th on the tour in just 50 starts. Sink, who has also made the cut in all 50 of his starts on the tour, sits firmly in first place on the Schwab Cup standings ahead of tour rookie Zach Johnson in second place. And lastly this week we head to the Hotel Planner Tour, where it was the Irish Challenge held at Killeen Castle in County Meath, Ireland. Winning here was Justin Harding. A first win on the Hotel Planner Tour for Justin Harding, his first pro win since the magical Kenya Open on the DP World Tour 5 years ago. Harding spent most of the week at the top or close to the top of the leaderboard and closed out a 36-hole lead on 13 under to win the title ahead of 2 players in tied second place. With this win, Harding jumps up a massive 116 places in the Road to Mallorca season's rankings to 25th place. And for another week, that was golf. Thank you so much for listening in to this episode. If you like what we do here at That Was Golf, be sure to give us a follow on our Instagram page at ThatWasGolfPod and subscribe to the podcast to stay up to date with all future episodes, with all new weekly review episodes being released at 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.